All right, welcome to another deep dive. This time we're looking at artificial intelligence, and specifically how the US can win what some people are calling the AI war against China.
Ooh, AI war. Dramatic.
I know, right? But this is some serious stuff.
For sure.
So we're diving into a letter, and this letter was written by Alexander Wang,
Okay.
and he's the CEO of Scale AI, and he wrote it to this was to the 47th president on Inauguration Day back in January of 2021.
Interesting.
So are you ready to kind of jump in and figure out what he's talking about?
Absolutely. Yeah, let's do it.
So one of the things that I think is really interesting about this is that Scale AI, they're not just some company that's kind of observing this whole thing from the sidelines. They're really deeply involved in AI.
Yeah, they're right in the thick of it.
Yeah, they even work with the Department of Defense, so they have this really unique perspective on, the whole situation.
Absolutely. And I think that's what makes this letter so fascinating.
Yeah.
Because there's this real sense of urgency that comes through.
Hmm.
It's almost like he's waving a big red flag and saying, hey, wake up.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't get our act together, the U.S. is at serious risk of falling behind China
Wow.
in this whole AI race.
Like a new kind of technological arms race.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
So it's interesting because I was doing a little research before this, and back in 2019, I was reading articles saying oh, China, they're so far behind in AI, but it seems like Wang, at least back in 2021, was already seeing that that was changing really quickly.
Yeah, and I think part of that comes from their position.
Uh-huh.
Working with both the commercial sector and the government, they had this sort of bird's eye view of how quickly China was actually mobilizing resources and catching up. It wasn't just talk. They were putting serious money and effort behind it.
Yeah, so let's talk about that money.
Okay.
His first point is about allocating AI investments correctly.
Right.
So I'm curious, what does he mean by that?
So he breaks it down into these three core pillars of AI advancement.
Yeah.
Compute, algorithms, and data.
Okay.
Now, tech companies, they've generally understood this balance pretty well, right?
Yeah.
Their investments typically fall around 60% in compute, so that's like the raw processing power.
Okay.
30% in data, which is basically the fuel that drives AI.
Fuel, I like that.
And then 10% in algorithms. So those are the recipes that make it all work.
So it sounds like a pretty, straightforward, logical kind of breakdown.
It does, right.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
There's a but coming.
There's a big but.
Okay.
The U.S. government, at least at the time this letter was written, was doing pretty much the exact opposite.
What?
90% of their AI investment was going into algorithms
Wow.
while neglecting those other two pillars.
That's a huge difference.
It is, right.
Yeah.
It's like they were putting all their eggs in one basket and not even the right basket.
So why would they do that?
That's a question that Wang doesn't explicitly answer in the letter,
Okay.
but it really raises some interesting questions, doesn't it?
Yeah, like what?
Well, is it a lack of understanding about how AI actually works? Or maybe it's more about bureaucratic inertia, sticking to familiar patterns even when they're not really effective anymore.
That's a good point.
Right.
So what was China doing differently in terms of investment?
Well, they seem to be taking a cue from the tech industry, putting a strong emphasis on all three pillars, particularly data.
Data.
They recognized early on that data is king in the world of AI.
Okay.
The more high-quality data you have, the better your AI algorithms are going to perform.
That makes sense.
And this presented a major challenge for the U.S. because not only were they investing less overall, they were potentially investing in the wrong areas.
Right. It's like showing up to a race with a bicycle when everyone else has a sports car.
Exactly.
You're not going to win that race.
Nope.
So Wang is basically saying if you want to win this AI war, you need a serious strategy shift. It's not just about throwing more money at the problem. It's about investing strategically, learning from the private sector, and acknowledging that data is crucial in AI.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Okay, so that's investment.
Right.
What's next? What's the next point?
Well, he shifts gears a little bit and starts talking about the human element,
Okay.
specifically building a strong AI workforce right here in the U.S.
Well, that makes sense.
Right. You need the talent to develop the technology.
You need the people to build the stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the potential economic impact here is huge.
Okay.
Some projections estimate that AI could create over 50 million new jobs globally and contribute like $15.7 trillion to the global economy by 2030.
Wow, those are some big numbers.
They are, right.
Yeah.
And Wang recognized that.
Okay.
So he proposed a pretty bold move, establishing an interagency task force to review regulations. And the goal is to make sure the U.S. became the most attractive destination for top AI talent.
So kind of like a brain drain.
Yeah, a reverse brain drain, like creating a global magnet for the best and brightest minds in AI.
So it's more than just like education programs. It's about creating an entire ecosystem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You need the right policies, the right infrastructure, the right environment
Yeah.
to truly become a leader in any field.
Okay, that's a really good point.
And AI is no exception.
So we've got investment and workforce. What's next on the list?
This one might surprise you.
Okay.
It's about making all federal agencies AI ready.
AI ready. Okay.
And this is where things get really interesting.
All right.
Did you know that the U.S. government is actually the world's biggest data producer?
Oh, wow. I had no idea.
Right. Little ironic, considering we were just talking about data being so important for AI.
Yeah, kind of ironic.
But they weren't really using that data effectively for AI. Wang argued that AI could revolutionize government operations.
Okay, like what kind of revolution are we talking about here?
Well, think about it. AI could analyze all those massive data sets to inform better policy decisions, streamline the processing of applications, even personalize services for citizens.
So it's like making the government like actually work for the people.
Exactly.
Okay.
More efficient, effective, and responsive.
Wow. That sounds like futuristic.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like something out of a sci-fi movie.
So how did he propose making this AI-ready government a reality?
He set a pretty bold goal. All federal agencies should be fully AI ready by 2027.
2027.
Yep.
That's pretty ambitious.
It is. It would require a major shift in thinking and a serious commitment to investing in AI across all levels of government.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Right. It's a huge undertaking.
Okay, we've covered a lot,
We have.
but I'm sure there's more.
There is.
What else is in this letter?
This next point might seem a little unexpected.
Okay.
He brings up the energy demands of AI.
Energy demands.
Yeah.
Okay.
And how it's connected to a broader energy strategy for the country.
Oh, interesting.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, all those calculations, all that processing, it must take a lot of energy.
Exactly. It's a huge energy suck.
Yeah.
And Wang argues that a robust and forward-thinking energy policy is crucial for AI to keep growing.
Okay.
He even calls for a national energy plan focused on producing low-cost and sustainable energy,
Wow.
specifically to fuel AI advancements.
It's like he's saying we need to build a city for AI, like it needs its own infrastructure.
It does, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about the technology itself, it's about the entire ecosystem that supports it.
Right.
And energy is a critical part of that.
You know, this makes me think back to his point about data. It seems like both data and energy are becoming like critical resources in this whole AI competition.
It's like the new oil and electricity of the digital age.
Yeah, I like that.
They're shaping the geopolitical landscape in really profound ways.
So we've got investing wisely, building the workforce, preparing the government, securing energy.
Yep.
What's the final piece of the puzzle?
The last point, but definitely not least, is about finding the right balance between safety and innovation when it comes to regulating AI.
Ooh, regulation.
Yeah.
That's a tricky one.
It is. It's a real balancing act.
Yeah. How do you encourage progress without stifling innovation,
Right.
but also make sure that AI is developed responsibly?
Exactly. It's a delicate dance.
Yeah.
And Wang proposes a sector-specific, use case-based approach to regulation.
Okay, what does that mean?
So basically, he's saying that the rules should be tailored to different applications of AI,
Okay.
recognizing that the risks and benefits are going to vary depending on how and where it's being used.
So like a self-driving car needs different regulations than, say, an AI that's used for medical diagnosis.
Exactly. A one-size-fits-all approach just wouldn't work in a field as diverse and rapidly evolving as AI.
Right.
He also stresses the importance of rigorous testing and evaluation for any potential risks before these systems are released out into the world.
Yeah, you don't want to create any problems.
Exactly. You've got to make sure you're not creating unintended consequences.
Right.
And he specifically mentions the National Institute of Standards and Technology.
NIST.
Yep. As a key player in this process, leveraging their expertise to establish those safety and performance benchmarks.
So checks and balances, making sure that as we push the boundaries of innovation,
Right.
we're also prioritizing safety and responsible development.
Absolutely. You can't have one without the other.
So this is where things get a little more philosophical, right?
It does.
We're building this incredibly powerful technology,
Yeah.
but we're still figuring out how to manage its impact on society.
Right. And how to make sure it's used ethically.
Exactly.
And this is where the conversation gets really interesting, because how do you even define harm in the context of AI?
Yeah.
How do you anticipate and mitigate those unintended consequences?
It's like we're building the plane while we're flying it.
Kind of, yeah.
We don't really know what's going to happen.
These are questions we're still grappling with.
Yeah, definitely.
And this letter, even though it was written back in 2021,
Uh-huh.
raises some really critical questions that are even more relevant today.
Yeah, it feels like Wang was ahead of his time.
He was definitely onto something.
Seeing the potential, but also seeing the potential pitfalls.
Absolutely. He was sounding the alarm early on.
So just to recap, we've got investing strategically, developing the workforce, preparing the government, securing energy, and regulating thoughtfully.
It's a pretty comprehensive plan.
It is. It's like a whole roadmap for navigating this AI landscape.
Yeah, it's a blueprint for success.
But I'm curious, where do we go from here? What happens next?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
And that's what we're going to explore in the next part of our deep dive.
Ooh, a cliffhanger.
You'll have to stay tuned to find out.
I can't wait.
It's going to be good. So what happens next? That's the big question, isn't it? We've outlined these 5 steps, but has anything actually happened? Have we seen any real movement on these recommendations since Wang wrote that letter back in 2021?
It's like he laid out this incredible roadmap, but are we actually following it?
Exactly. It makes you wonder what progress has been made, what challenges still remain. You know, that's where things get really interesting for you, the listener.
Oh, who so?
Because this deep dive isn't just about understanding what Wang proposed. It's about prompting you to kind of dig deeper,
Okay,
explore further, form your own conclusions about the state of AI in the U.S.
I like that.
It becomes a bit of a treasure hunt.
Ooh, treasure hunt. Fun.
It is, in a way. You're looking at the landscape of AI today and seeing if you can spot the echoes of Wang's recommendations, or if things have taken a different turn altogether.
You know, what strikes me is how interconnected all these points are.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about focusing on one aspect, like investment or workforce development. It's about tackling all of them simultaneously.
It's like this complex ecosystem, right?
Yeah,
Each element depends on the others to thrive.
right. You can't have a brilliant workforce without the resources to support their work.
Yeah.
And you can't have cutting-edge technology without the infrastructure and policies to, guide its development.
It's a holistic challenge that demands a holistic response.
And it makes you realize that this AI war, it's not just happening in some far-off research lab. It's impacting all of our lives in really profound ways, even if we don't realize it.
That's such an important point to remember.
Yeah.
We often think of AI as this abstract concept, but it's already woven into the fabric of our daily lives.
Oh, absolutely.
Think about the recommendations you get on streaming services, the way you navigate traffic with GPS, the personalized ads you see online.
It's true.
It's all powered by AI.
Yeah.
It's shaping our choices, influencing our decisions, and it's only becoming more pervasive every single day.
So we really do need to understand the implications of this,
Absolutely.
both the good and the bad.
The potential benefits and the potential risks. We can't just be passive consumers of technology anymore.
Right, we need to be informed citizens, engaging in these thoughtful conversations about the future we want to create with AI.
Because the future of AI isn't preordained.
Hmm.
It's being shaped right now by the decisions we make, the policies we implement, and the conversations we have.
So it makes you wonder, what kind of future do we want? Do we want AI to empower individuals, bridge divides, solve complex problems, or do we want it to exacerbate inequalities, erode privacy, and concentrate power in the hands of a few?
Those are some big questions, and there are no easy answers.
Yeah, definitely not.
But that's precisely why it's so important for all of us to engage with these issues, to think critically about the role of AI in our lives, and to advocate for its ethical and responsible development.
We need to be more than just users of AI. We need to be active participants in shaping its trajectory.
Absolutely. And that starts with asking questions, challenging assumptions, exploring different perspectives.
Being curious, staying informed,
Exactly.
and, engaging in these dialogues even when they get uncomfortable.
Even when they get uncomfortable. Because ultimately, the future of AI is a reflection of our own values, priorities, and choices as a society.
What kind of world do we want to build with this incredible technology?
It's a question that goes beyond algorithms and data. It touches on the very essence of what it means to be human in an increasingly technologically driven world.
Wow. Deep.
It is deep, and with that, I think we're ready to move on to Wang's final point.
As we dive into this final point about balancing safety and innovation, it strikes me that this whole conversation about AI keeps coming back to the human element.
It always does, doesn't it? I mean, AI is a tool, right? Created by humans, used by humans,
Right.
ultimately impacting the lives of humans. It's a reflection of our ingenuity, our aspirations.
And our flaws.
Yeah, sometimes our flaws too.
It makes me think back to Wang's point about the AI war.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a battle of algorithms and processing power.
You're right.
It's a clash of values, priorities, visions for the future.
Exactly. What kind of world are we building with AI?
Mhm.
Are we prioritizing human well-being, fairness, inclusivity?
Yeah.
Or are we just sleepwalking into a future where AI is used for control, surveillance, profit, maybe even at the expense of human dignity and autonomy?
Those are some heavy questions to be thinking about.
They are heavy questions.
And it makes you realize that the responsibility doesn't just rest on the shoulders of, governments and tech giants.
It's on all of us.
Yeah, it's on all of us. Yeah.
From the researchers pushing the boundaries of AI to everyday people using AI-powered products.
Right. Yeah.
We all have a role to play in shaping this.
So it starts with awareness, right? Understanding how AI is already impacting our lives
Absolutely.
and engaging in these conversations about the future we want to create.
Being informed consumers, demanding transparency from the companies developing AI, advocating for policies that prioritize ethical considerations.
Right. Alongside those technological advancements.
Exactly. It's not just about saying yes or no to AI.
Right.
It's about having these nuanced conversations,
Yeah.
asking those tough questions,
Yeah.
demanding accountability from the people shaping the AI landscape.
And these conversations, they need to be happening everywhere, right? Not just in universities and government meetings.
Everywhere. Our homes, schools, workplaces, communities.
Yeah.
It's about empowering people to understand AI, to critically evaluate its impact, and to really voice their concerns and aspirations.
Because at the end of the day, the future of AI isn't predetermined, right?
It's not set in stone.
It's a story that we're still writing, and we all have the power to influence how that story unfolds.
That's a great way to put it.
I think that's what I like about this letter so much.
Mm-hmm.
Alexander Wang, back in 2021, it was a call to action.
It was.
It was a plea for the U.S. to really step up and take a proactive approach to AI development.
And although it was addressed to the president,
Mhm.
that message resonates far beyond, Washington, D.C.
Yeah, it's for all of us.
It is. It's a reminder that the future of AI isn't something that's happening to us.
Right.
It's something that we are actively creating.
So to wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final question to think about. What role do you want to play in shaping this AI-powered future?
Will you be an informed citizen, a critical thinker, an advocate for ethical development, or maybe even a creator of new AI applications?
The choice is yours, but the time to engage is now. The future of AI is unfolding right in front of us, and it's up to all of us to make sure it's a future that benefits everyone.
That's the goal, a future that benefits all of humanity.
Absolutely.